In this video, I want to explain one common situation that scares a lot of proxy users. You buy a proxy from one country, for example, the United States. Then you open a checker like Whoer. The IP address shows the United States, but the DNS section shows another country, for example, South Africa. And then the checker shows a scary message like serious anonymity fails or disguise 63%. At first, this looks like a leak, but in most cases, this is not a real DNS leak. Let's look at what is actually happening. On the checker, we can see the proxy IP address. This is the IP that websites see when you visit them through the proxy. That part is the most important. If the proxy IP is from the selected country, the main connection is going through the proxy. Now, look at the DNS address. In this example, the DNS address starts with 172.253. This is not your home internet provider. This is not your local router. And this is not your personal IP address. This address belongs to Google infrastructure. If we check this IP range through BGP tools, we can see that it belongs to Google, also known as AS15169. So why does the country look different? Because the proxy node may resolve domains through Google public DNS. For example, through Google DNS addresses like 8.8.8.8. Google has a global DNS infrastructure. The DNS request can be answered from a Google location that is different from the proxy IP country. So the checker may show the proxy IP as the United States, but the DNS resolver as South Africa, Germany, Netherlands, or another country. This does not automatically mean that your real DNS is leaking. A real DNS leak means something different. A real DNS leak happens when your browser or system sends DNS requests outside the proxy chain, for example, directly to your home internet provider. In that case, a checker would show your real ISP DNS. That would be a problem. But in this example, your real internet provider is not visible. Your home DNS is not visible. Your personal IP address is not visible. The chain looks like this. Your browser connects to the proxy node. The proxy node resolves domains through Google DNS. The website sees the proxy IP. The DNS checker sees Google DNS. Your local ISP is not part of this visible chain. So this is not the same as a real DNS leak. This is only a DNS country mismatch. The proxy IP country and the DNS resolver country are different. That can look scary on simple checkers, but it does not always mean that the proxy is bad. Now, what about the anonymity percentage on Whoer? Do not treat this percentage as a final technical verdict. It is a scoring system made by the checker. It can mark the profile as suspicious because the DNS country does not match the IP country. But this does not prove that your real IP address leaked. It only means that this specific checker does not like the DNS result. For most normal tasks, this is not critical. Social networks usually care much more about the IP address, browser fingerprint, cookies, behavior, account history, and device consistency. Marketplaces also look at many different signals. Dating platforms usually do not block only because the DNS reservoir country is different. But some streaming services, banking systems, and strict anti-fraud platforms may check DNS and network consistency more carefully. So if your task is very sensitive to location matching, you may want to fix it. The best fix is simple. Use SOCKS-5 proxies when possible. SOCKS-5 can support remote DNS resolution if the browser or application is configured correctly. In an anti-detect browser, open the proxy settings. Select SOCKS-5. Enter host, port, login, and password. Then enable the option called Resolve DNS through Proxy, Proxy DNS, Remote DNS, or a similar setting. The exact name depends on the browser. After that, test again. I recommend checking DNS with BrowserLeak's DNS test. Do not rely on only one checker. If the DNS servers no longer show your local internet provider, then you do not have a real DNS leak. If you still see your home ISP in the DNS section, then you need to fix the browser, system, or proxy configuration. Let's summarize. If your proxy IP is United States, but DNS shows South Africa or another country, this is not automatically a leak. If the DNS IP belongs to Google, Cloudflare, or another public resolver, it usually means the proxy node or browser is using a public DNS resolver. A real leak is when your own ISP DNS appears. The most important question is simple. Does the checker show your real home internet provider? If no, then most likely your DNS is not leaking. If yes, then you need to enable DNS through proxy or change your proxy setup. At Proxy Universe, we provide proxies with SOC 5 support and login and password authentication.